What up, everybody? I hope you like the new presentation. I'm ready. I'm excited. Let's dive into Fire Lord Azula. This is a four-colored GRIXIS commander, so blue, black, and red. One generic mana, legendary creature, human noble with firebending 2. Whenever this creature attacks, add double red. This mana lasts until the end of combat. So you're gonna basically add mana to your mana pool when this thing does get to attack. It will and that mana will fizzle, or it will basically you'll have it available until your end of combat. So you have this window when like you tap your creatures, and if you have instant speed spells, you can just basically start casting them, right? You have this like window where you have this 2 red mana available, and then whatever else you already have like available for your lands, you can kind of start utilizing that mana for how you wish. This could be like your instant speed spells that you can cast at this point of your your attack phase. You could do flash speed spells. You can also pay into abilities of certain cards in your hand, like maybe they have cycle, or maybe they have channel. Those are also things that you can pay in with the firebend. Maybe even abilities that like are 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 skewed into the creature itself, like pumping abilities, like pay this amount of mana and like this does like a certain type of effect, like buffs your creatures or whatever. You could also do that. So there's a lot of utilization of this mana. It's not like it's going to be like useless. It's actually very effective to have that 2 extra red mana. It's what really makes this card like kind of go over the top, in a big way. It makes it interesting and makes it fun because it really can like fit into a variety of game plans. It's just going to fit into like a lot of cards in general. Like it's kind of like a glue, right? It just kind of glues really nice commander, for your command zone. And what's really also interesting, like I was kind of mentioning, is that if you cast a certain spell while it's attacking, it will copy that spell, and you can choose new targets for that spell. In addition, if it was like a permanent, that permanent would become a token. So the idea is like if you have like a Snapcaster Mage, and you play it at flash speed because you can do that during her attack phase, you'll create the the Snapcaster and a copy of it, and you'll get both of those into the battlefield triggers. So really, really strong card, like woof, like a woof card. It's also a 4/4. So yeah, this thing sticks around when I play on Brawl. It usually will just win the game on turn 5, like cast it, turn 3 with a mana rock, or cast it turn 4 with like protection. When you attack with this card, you're simply going to like get into win conditions where you can just put up large amounts of damage, at once. You could just basically just outvalue your opponents and have like really, really strong turns where they can't really recover from, because you're just putting so much mana down with treasures, or just really simply accruing so much card advantage. So yeah, really, really devastating card in general. So without further ado, I'm gonna kind of go over like a sequence that like kind of is really strong for Asula, and then we can kind of just kind of go over from there, like kind of some of the other kind of play lines that are going to be really nice. But for instance, a card like Dark Ritual. So we swing with Fire Lord Azula. We pay one mana after she attacks, or while she's attacking, and then Dark Ritual will be cast, and then there will be a copy made of it as well. So even if like one of them if even like the Dark Ritual gets countered, that copy is still, it's just part of this triggering, right? It's part of like that stack. So you're going to get net 3 mana no matter what. And if everything resolves, you're going to have 6 mana in your mana pool, like all of a sudden. So yeah, that's like some really big stuff, right? So very impressive how you can just basically have these double ritual type effects, and really benefits of like just having this instant speed, interaction with her. So okay, now we have 6 mana in our mana pool. That's really cool. And now we have a card like Unexpected Windfall. So now it's probably in our best interest to cast the Unexpected Windfall, utilizing 2 of that black mana for the generic mana, and then 2 red mana that we have in our mana pool for our lands. And what's going to happen is we're just going to have to discard a card, We're going to draw 2 cards and create 2 treasure tokens. And then that copied spell of Unexpected Windfall will not require us to discard a card. We'll simply just, we've already paid that additional cost to cast the spell. Now we'll simply copy it. We'll draw 2 more cards and create 2 more treasure tokens. So you're going to get a pretty decent amount of card advantage plus the 4 treasures to kind of like continue this kind of cycle. Again, Big Score just kind of does this as well, and I'll kind of explain one of the like the most egregious like forms of like storming off I've done like ever was involved like a dark ritual, a Big Score, and then what would happen is I got into one of the new lesson spells, and I was able to fish out a Snapcaster Mage from that, and bust him right onto the battlefield at once, and he was also casted, so I was able to get into 2 snappies, and then I was simply able to, I had like 2 treasures left upon like doing all these other things, and I went back with my first snappy. I got the Dark Ritual, and then with the second snappy I got another Big Score. So those 2 treasures simply left. I went back to a Dark Ritual, got 6 more black mana, and I had 1 more red mana left. Went back into a Big Score. Like basically continued the process over of like drawing 4 cards, like making 4 more treasures. And I think I still had like a black mana in my mana pool. And I think from there I went to an Enduring Curiosity. It was like the craziest turn ever. And I'll probably put my link into the comments of that first game. You'll see it's just like, it was so easy. I was just like, this thing is just popping off. It was just like crazy. So you can definitely get into some really psycho play lines where you're just like getting value and just like repeatedly playing these very strong cards over and over again and copying them, which is really crazy. One of my favorite lines, I've like also had another like incredible line that like involved like how to start a riot, was really cool. So once again, you're going to get that 2 red mana. So sometimes at instant speed, like these spells that are like very red based, like they'll like accept red mana and then generic mana are good because it'll be much easier to cast, right? Because you're getting 2 red mana from Azula. So in this particular play line, just imagine this card. This actually will target a creature and give it menace. And then creatures, it will target the player as well and give all your creatures 2/0 until end of turn. So with Azula, you're gonna get +4/+0 is this, which is really nice, and then you're also gonna be targeting something and give it menace, which is really nice for her because that will preserve her. But in this instance, we had a Sprite Dragon on the battlefield that was already like accruing like counters because we had started casting non-creature spells like Talisman of Conviction and whatever else, and so this thing was starting to go off, and then I had Azula. And then I casted the Goldspan Dragon. And that was, I think, our turn 5. And let me tell you, it got real silly real fast because this year, How to Start a Riot will actually target this. And whenever this becomes a target of a spell, you'll create a treasure. And so I was accruing treasures because I was getting a casted copy of How to Start a Riot and then a copy of it to also target the Goldspan. So I was accruing, like I think I accrued like 2 treasures in that way, and that was just simply building up my mana pool. I had these crazy attackers. This thing has haste too, so basically I think I had like 3 creatures all with 8 power or more. That the 2 were flyers for the Sprite Dragon, and then also Azula was like really strong too. She was like an 8/4 as well. And then I had mana to continue because I had the Goldspan, so I was popping off with my lessons, and I was still like continuing the cycle because I had so many treasures, and I was casting and copying more things. And I really could have just done so many terrible things to the opponent, but they simply left. I already had lethal on board, in Brawl, but it was just really obnoxious. Here's the Waterlock teachings, and this one is really... This one's really sick because this is just like a tutor effect. So it's so easily castable. It's like probably the craziest like dual faced land card because you can simply just play this on the backside for Demure lands. This card, MVP, man. Like, go search up like a removal spell. Go search up like a deadly dispute. Like, I don't know, something that you're still going to be able to cast and get value off of, like, and just start going ham with. You can get anything you want, really. You can get like a snuff out. You can get a dismember. Like, you can get a whole bunch of toolboxy spells here. You could even get like delve into, is it the something in time? One of your delve spells, so like draws a million cards. Like, it's just really up to you. This card is really whacked out. So I wanted to feature that one as well as just like really, really kind of a psycho card. Electro Dominance is also like really cool here. So shout out to MTG Tana, or Tana MTG, and DG Hermit, my homies. Well, DG Hermit is definitely a homie of the channel. But Electro Dominance is super sick because you're going to get that cast initially, for which is really nice in general. And that will be doubled up. So if you're going to be dealing damage to something, you're going to be dealing double that X damage. And then additionally, based on how much mana you put into this, you can get into a card in your hand and cast that one as well. And that will be copied with Azula as well. So really nice instant speed, like basically doubling of a possibility of casts. Has a nice effect of like burning somebody or a creature. And then you're going to get into that really nice spell that you can freely cast from your hand and then copy that one over again. So it's basically like 4 spells in one. So really kind of amazing stuff really for the Azula, right? How it kind of snowballs. Very snowbally commander, this one, isn't it? So then you have like a deadly Rollick, and this one is the one that's going to see you have your commander, right? And then you can simply double this up at instant speed and exile a bunch of stuff, which is really strong. Dismember also is like basically going to be very mana neutral in a way where you're just going to be able to pay 1 red into this and then 4 life. And then double up on it, which is really nice for the Azula because it's just 1 generic mana there and the Phyrexian mana. Snuff Out too is just going to want you to see that you have a swamp in play, and you can just simply cast this from your hand too at instant speed by paying 4 life. It'll be copied. Very cool. And here's the channel effect. So there's the channel right there. So this is a 3 generic and 1 black. So really nice there in general to be able to channel and get some gas when we need it. And this can be a land too, so just really strong. Or cycle. So there's a cycle. So you can also cycle lands such as Triomes with that mana that you firebend with. So that's really nice. And I think we're getting into our firebenders here, and we're going to kind of rip through it here because we kind of went through like the more detailed stuff, and we're going to kind of get into the idea of the deck. But Twinning Staff is just also really strong because it's going to double up. Once again, it's going to copy the spells that you do copy. Perfect card for Azula, right? Excuse me. So simply, Fire Lord Azula is going to copy the spells we play at instant speed when she attacks, and Twinning Staff will see that copied spell. Basically, once we have copied that spell, it will make a copy of that copy. So you get an additional. You would get, if you would copy a spell 1 more time instead copy it that many times plus an additional time. Fantastic. So it's like a replacement effect. You may choose new targets for additional copy. And then 7, generic and a tap, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. So an additional, like a little mana sink there too. Really cool for our firebending. Really cool stuff, guys. So here's firebending. This is like basically like the creature, the token that represents the firebending in general. And firebending is, of course, whenever this token attacks, add red. So firebending is kind of like can go from 1 red adding, maybe 6 in some instances for some of these creature, sometimes 4, and like again it lasts until end of combat. So the card that we really kind of fancy here is the Firebender's Ascension. So this one is just a really nice enchantment that will create a firebender, and then as we attack with more firebenders, we'll get more quest counters on this. If we have 4 more, it'll actually copy that instance for that triggered ability of attacking with firebending. So if we have a creature with firebender 2, it will trigger the 2 red mana, and then we'll get 2 additional red mana. So that's really nice. Here's Ozai. This is like the really like big homie Jama here. So trample, firebending 4, and haste. If you lose unspent mana, that mana becomes red instead. Ozai has flying and indestructible as long as you have 6 more unspent mana. So sick. This card is so sick. Just it's cool to like retain that mana too. I like that. I like that a lot. And it just has like flying and indestructible, just a nasty thing. We're kind of aggro in that way too. Like it's like a snowbally aggro card, mostly. I would say so. Here's Avatar Roku. Whenever a player attacks, add 6. Until end of combat, you don't lose this mana at step's end. So it's just sick. Like you're just gonna get some sick mana, like, and it's gonna like maybe make your opponents afraid to attack too. But you can pump up your opponent's creatures in politic with it too, which is really nice. So I love it. I think Avatar Roku is really cool. Yeah. Here's Zuko, Firebending Master. Once again, just a nice firebender. And like I said, we play so many spells, you're gonna get a lot of experience counters. So this thing's gonna be usually firebending for like 4 or 5, like off of your next turn really. Zhao is cool because we make so many treasures, so we're gonna be sacrificing treasures and pumping up our squad and also firebending. So that's really cool. Here's Fire Nation Occupation. As we kind of play instant speed spells throughout our opponent's turn, we'll accrue more 2/2 firebenders. I love that. I think it's very cool. It makes one itself. Firebending Occupation. Rand and Shaw, we do play an abundance of lessons. The Avatar set is a standalone set. Like basically, it really just like you can play like basically 60% Avatar cards in a commander deck and be like really fine about it because they work really well with each other, especially like the lessons. So you get 3 lessons in your graveyard. You cast Rand and Shaw, and then you're gonna have 2 copies of it, and they're both gonna be 2 firebending 2. Like 2/4/4 dragons with firebending 2, and they can pump into themselves as well. Really good for other dragons. You're gonna love this card, I have a feeling. Zuko is just like another firebender. Just will firebend for 3. You can also get gas by playing in 3 generic. Exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn, so we like that too. This like really spoke to me. I wanted to build the deck basically based on the Fire Nation cadets because they played so well, like just in the jump-in event on Arena. So I just was just very, very fond of the making them good and getting lessons in my graveyard and having that ability to really accelerate by attacking in an early stage and getting mana into my mana pool that I could start, utilizing and maybe getting to some fast big scores and really getting fast, getting really ahead. This would be the Firebender Student. I'm still acquiring that one. That's kind of elusive to me. But I've gotten everything else. I like just got lucky, I just got into everything. Speaking of lucky, could be your lucky day if you comment on this video. We are giving away an Omnath Locus of All at 625 subscribers. So that one's coming, and also you'll be eligible for the Tycho deck too by commenting on this video as well. That's at 750. We're just giving away commander decks. I've done it before. I've sent away cards to people. It's a real thing. It's really fun, and I'm just really glad I could share decks with people and they can just try them out. Maybe one day just try it out. Here's Grand Grand just won a world championship, so you should congratulate Grand too. Congratulations, Grand. Good job. Monument to Endurance, like, it didn't... I'm very surprised that, like, an Izzet deck used that card, because to me, like, Monument of Endurance is like a Guardian of New Benalia card, where you are just basically able to just trigger all the modes, like, freely. That's a white card. So, yeah, I'm surprised, like, that you could get so much Monument value, from, an Izzet deck, because... it's not like they can freely discard all the time. But this one really helped. So whenever Grand becomes tapped, draw a card, then discard a card. Non-creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast as long as there are 3 or more lesson cards in your graveyard. So yeah, it really incentivizes you to put lessons in your graveyard. This one also really loves to see lessons in your graveyard as well. So yeah, you can just, you see that accumulate wisdom is just kind of worthy of just jamming your deck with lessons, because basically it becomes like an ancestral recall, and simply have 3 lessons in your graveyard when you cast this, and you get to put the top 3 cards of your library into your hand. It's already good just, copying it with Azula anyways for 2 mana without the lessons in your graveyard. So you just get like a nice little, kind of meditation effect where you're just like looking at the top 3, putting 1 into your hand, and I think the other one's going to the bottom of your library in any order. Yeah, so what a card. So this is like the stuff, like the lesson type. We got a redirect lightning here, which is really cool. Basically a protection spell. We love like these 1 mana protection spells. They're so good, man. This one actually will change the target to another target. You just have to pay the 5 life. You could also just play 2 generic mana, so it's like whatever. What a card. More protection with the octopus form. So yeah, more protection spells. You can just hold this up like with your mana rock and really, really punish your opponents. So they're gonna have to like have 2 removal spells to like, or you're gonna get in your Azula and just win. Or get like really, really outvalue them. Boomerang basics just will return any non-land permanent, but sorcery speed, So we kind of are sad about like some of these lessons that are sorcery speed, but we do play a Wizards of Thane, so we're pretty happy about just doing the lesson synergy and just playing like a lessons deck. Quench here is really nice, little counterspell action. This one will actually buff up your creatures and also hit your opponent's stuff, so you can kind of do a combat trick. Really good for your Goldspan Dragon, obviously, to really kind of get crazy with treasures by targeting. Iroh's Demonstration. This is a sorcery speed, unfortunately. Deals 1 damage to each creature your opponent's controller. Deals 4 damage to a target creature. Combustion Technique is great because it is instant speed. You're gonna have a lot of lessons in your graveyard, so you're just gonna get a buff on it. It's gonna be stupid strong, and it's gonna exile. This is like a $3 common, or should be, because it's just simply so good with the lessons. It's just like it could be like it could be like a 5 damage spell, and with Azula you get 2 instances of that for 2 mana in red. That's like unheard of. So really good. Here's Waterbender's Restoration, and this is a cool little protection spell. You can waterbend, so that's a mechanic for this. So have 2 blue open, and then you can start tapping your creatures down to phase out some other creatures depending on how many creatures you tapped. So it's a cool effect. Here's the Ruinous Waterbending. Kind of like a Toxic Deluge type of effect, but just not nearly as good in any sense. It's just kind of a backup. And overall, it's just like, it's another lesson. So it is what it is. Not the worst, but not the best. And this is the card. This is the one. This card is busted. This is the thing that started the chain off with my Snapcaster Mage. Really brought on that really crazy turn. And then it has a flashback. So sometimes you're going to flash this back too. So really wicked stuff here, guys. You're going to love the Solstice Revelation. In this deck, you're going to be having like 3 or 4 mountains on the battlefield, because you're going to have your Surveil lands down. You're going to have your Blood Crypts. You're going to be fetching those up, and then you're going to have, your mountain sources down, and you're just going to be getting like into those like really sweet, 2 mana plays or 3 mana plays, or otherwise you're just going to be putting them in your hand, and it's just really cool value overall. Once again, those are casted once again. The card that is revealed, if it meets that criteria that's under the mountain, as many mountains you have, like, so if you have 4 mountains, you have Snapcaster Mage, that will definitely clear it. You could also have a 3 mana play in that instance, but once that's seen, those are casted, so you duplicate them again with Azula on the battlefield because you're casting them. So once again, just a lot of crazy value. That's like the snowbally effect once again with Solstice Revelations. Also a lesson. Scarring Memories, we will be able to play at instant speed with Azula on the battlefield, so that's a nice value there to like really punish them. This is like your win con, is like your overwhelming victory where you're doubling up on this. It can get really out of hand because you're simply going to be like taking something out with 1 toughness and then another thing with 1 toughness, and your squad is going to get pumped up by 8 power. And that's like that's a win con. It just simply is, you know, it just simply is. Zuko's exile is kind of fun too, right, guys? Because you're just gonna like exile something, you know, and then if you have Azula, you're gonna exile it again. You know, another thing that's an artifact creature enchantment. It's like a lot of selection. So it gets better because Azula just produces a ton of mana, so it doesn't feel that bad, you know. Similarly, like these 6 mana plays, they just don't feel that bad. And they're all lessons, so they just like kind of fit into our game plan and our little synergy that we got going on, so it's just really fun. This one gives you some cards and we'll airbend some things. Here's Errant the Street Artist, and what an amazing card. You're going to simply just go ahead and copy one of your copied spells for 2 mana and a tap, so we just love to see it. Really good value for us in general. Orcish Bowmasters, just for that little flash. Can double up on your Orcish Bowmaster, seems really great. Brazen Borrow is just one of those other really cool pieces where you can double up on your adventure side. And then flash in the flyer side and get 2 flyers on the battlefield, so we love that. Here's Ashling, just another really cool card. You can do like the dwarf too, which is probably a good choice with the treasure stuff we're doing, but I would like to try Ashling too, because she simply gets turned on and will start hitting your opponent's face and your creatures as you cast and copy spells. And then if you do like in another instance, you get some red mana too. So it's just really nice. There's the Wizards of Thay. It's gonna like let our sorcery speed spells be played as though they had flash, so that's really good for our lessons that don't have instant speed, and also has a myriad, so it's gonna, when it attacks, it's gonna let make our instant sorcery spells cost 1 less to cast, so we can start really going crazy with this card. Really cool card in general. And then the tally, this is like the, you know, the Mauled Hound tech, this is the Tana tech, this is the card where you're simply going to be attacking in, and then you're going to be able to freely cast those spells that are exiled from the top of your player's opponent's libraries, and you're going to get an additional instance of that, right? So really cool top end card in general for us. This is like the juice here, like that's not lesson orientated. It's just like we're in the kind of like non-lesson stuff. There's these really cool cards that like are just to do wild things with our deck. So that was like the Atali. And I think even before that was like the Ashling. This card is going to be like insane too, because you can see it's just going to be doubled up, and your opponent for 2 mana, your opponents will each have to sacrifice a non-token creature, and they'll have to do that in 2 instances with Azula. So that's a lot of value. That's better than the single target removal spells, because you're simply going to have more things that you're going to be hitting because they're each, right? Each opponent. So you have the option like to take out 6 targets rather than just 2 with single target removal. Great Train Heist for that really awesome instant speed spell that you can get like extra combat. So it's like a time walk that's like doesn't feel like you're actually playing a time walk. It's much stronger. Yeah, you're gonna basically get like lots of damage in. You're gonna be lots of treasures. And doubling up that combat is no joke too. Like even having 1 is really good, but then doing it again, because you're copying it with Azula, is really interesting. You could do like a Braid, but I want to try Untimely Malfunction just because it's a nice redirection spell. And it will just simply take out artifacts, which we like. Narset's Reversal, I kind of like had to like do some testing on this to kind of get it right. What I try to do the Ben Bateman thing, and I try to like, you know, cycle the cards. And I did it wrong. And I was thinking it over, and I think I do know how to do it now. Because I think what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to cast like your big scores, for instance. And then while that's on the stack, you're going to go ahead and cast your Narset's Reversal. And then the Narset's Reversal will get copied as well. And you simply will just have one of the copies copy the Unexpected Windfall or big score, and then have the copy of Narset's Reversal copy itself. Copy the not the copy itself, but the casted version to pop it back into your hand. I think that's the way, guys. I think that's the way. Let me know in the comments if you think that's the way. I think I got it right. And then, and that way you can bring back the Narset's reversal to your hand. I'm not sure there's a way to get both of the cards back to your hand, the big score and the Narset's reversal, but perhaps you could too. So there's that. Very interesting stuff. Yeah, because you're going to copy the Narset's reversal. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Deadly Dispute. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is the juice right here, guys. Get some treasures out, and you're going to be going pretty stellar with this, homie. That's for sure. You can even sacrifice one of your own, guys, but I don't know if you're going to want to do that. But yeah, you're going to make more treasures, draw cards, keep up the train. Just love to see it. Galvanic Iteration is the greediest card we have in this deck, but oof, if we can get this thing going, you know we're going to get it going. Simply going to be a lot of copying going on, you know, with this particular instance. You know, you're going to be getting just an additional instance of copying, so it seems like a really cool one to do. Very snowbally. Chaos Warp just to hit like any permanent. So we love that. Just going to be, you know, risk reward type of effect like that. We know this card can be kind of a risk reward, but sometimes they don't have a permanent card on the top of their library, you know. So it is what it is. And that could really screw somebody over. You know? Chaos Warp. Just oof. Just says, see you later, alligator. Just says the owner of target permanent shuffles into their library. It's like not even like a, it's like just see ya. Do not pass go. There will be no destroy. There will be no exile. Just goes back to your library. Here's Frantic Search. So this will actually net you some mana with Azula, which is nice. You'll get to like kind of sift through your deck. And also net mana, which is really cool. Because you'll untap 6 lands, up to 6 lands. Because you'll be copying it. Here's Prismari Command, just like another sweet spell. Very, you know, toolboxy. You can, you know, draw some cards. You can get some treasures, hit some artifacts, maybe do some damage. It's really kind of up to you what you want to do. And here's the Enduring Curiosity. Just what a beautiful flash card there. So it just kind of rounds out our card advantage and kind of really makes our deck go. Here's Dig Through Time. Just probably one of your like your tutor effects, so like Waterlog Teachings, to like really get into this and like really kind of have a turn, you know, set up yourself really nicely, prepare for what's coming. Really nice 1-drop here, Ragavan, to create treasures. This is kind of like our just mana suite here, just kind of goes through the goodies. Got the Talisman. The ones that produce blue we prefer because we like to hold up blue mana for our protection spells mostly. So blue and red mana are very good. Those are the Talismans. Offer You Can't Refuse, just like a really nice catch-all just to kind of protect our stuff. So we just kind of love that as well with Offer. Toxic D, just to be like the best card in our deck. Really, like who's just as, you know, it is the best card. Here's Subtlety. And that's a nice little flash one. I don't think you're going to be really copying for the beatdown to get like the 2/3/3s flyers, but it's possible. What you're probably just going to want to do with this, though, is just like probably pitch one of our blue cards just to have it available to protect our board state, you know, get rid of problematic commanders or, you know, put them, you know, delay them to an extent. I love Fury, too. Very fond of Fury just to kind of handle some stupid mana dorks that green might have out early in the game and just kind of take care of them and slow them down as well. Kind of reach equalization. Here's some more channel cards. So like the Otawara is really nice. We can use our firebending for that. And then Lindblom has a good look here too, because you can, you know, copy this and you get 2/0/1 wizards, which is better than just one, right? It makes this card much better. And perhaps we can start draining our opponents with that pinging damage, right? Here's Malak Rebirth, really great for our girl because if we swing her in, you know, or she gets targeted, we could always copy this up on our combats as well. So we can kind of like protect our stuff and not be so worried about swinging in, right? Because she is kind of susceptible to swing in with being a 4/4. So just having a Rebirth available just to like kind of target her and maybe like target something else that's gonna die in combat would be really nice, right? Sink into the Stupor, just a really nice, instant speed spell. Conceal's Fury is very interesting here too. Might want to sacrifice one of our buffed up creatures from overwhelming forces, or one of those other lessons, and then all of a sudden, we're dealing 10 damage to something and 10 damage to something else, and that might be really good. Bogart Trawler for hitting graveyards. Felder Profane, just a really nice doubling up here. Love to see it. Love to see that option to hit Planeswalkers too. Haggard Mauling, these are just all beautiful lands. Pinnacle Monk, just to get back in those instants of sorcery, so good. With Prowess too, it's very underrated, right? Very cool card. And then you have these really cool Avatar lands that I just got from the pack openings. Really enjoyed the Jumpstart one and the Play Booster. I encourage you guys to go check at least one of those out if you haven't already. And that's the deck. Nothing too much else to say. The list will be up in a matter of a couple of days. Not going to really rush this one. If you guys want to kind of post your list, I'd love to kind of check them out too. This is such a fatty deck. Hold on. Try to get this thing wrangled up here. But yeah, really fun deck to build here. I definitely will take this one out to LGS. It's kind of like Marchesa 2.0. And it's just that Marchesa just didn't make it just because, or even like Kefka, because it just became like a lessons deck. It was more Avatar based. So we kind of just went that way. She's great. She's really swell, guys. Really, really cool. Really cool and powerful. Really kind of brings home the bacon, as you'd say. Yeah, I'd say so. Man, this setup is so sick, guys. Hope you're enjoying the new setup. It just seems very seamless. The cards are really vibrant. I have a nice lighting here. So maybe this is the next step for us. Eventually we'll hit the 1,000. I know we will, but over the summer it always gets better. Hopefully I'll see you guys at MagicCon, and maybe we can play some Ninja Turtle stuff. I do have a Ninja Turtle deck I kind of want to go over with you guys pretty soon on Moxfield. It's Is It Artifacts? It's with the partners with Raphael and Donatello. So just really cool stuff in general. But overall, these are really cool cards. The lessons are really nice, so I really like those as well. I like the integration of the flash, and a card like Errant that didn't really get too much love is really nice to have. So I'm really excited about it overall. I'm really excited. Yeah, really cool deck overall. I just love it. I love it, guys. GRIXIS, so good. The GRIXIS, ooh, so good. Look at the talismans, so nasty. Such an inevitable way, but it doesn't feel like blue, where you don't really know what's going to happen, with blue you have I'm going to be countering your stuff. I'm going to be drawing a crap ton of cards, and that's going to be what it is. The lines are always kind of different, like I was going over, you might be doing some weird stuff with your Goldspan Dragon, and your Sprite Dragon, and how to start a riot. You might just be beating down people. You might be outvaluing them with your Snapcaster Mages and your Enduring Curiosities. It's you just never know what you're going to get with this particular deck, and that's very exciting for me. So bye bye, guys. Like and subscribe. See you later.